Hi, I'm Taya Gill. With today's high-definition cameras, an actress needs a high-quality makeup. My secret is DMK Cosmetics. A natural foundation that covers flaws, won't rub off on clothes, and lasts the entire day. So whether you're under the brightest of lights or at a candlelit dinner with that special someone, DMK Cosmetics makes it all happen. Work in it, play in it, live in it. DMK Cosmetics. The secret's out.
Welcome to the Ron Russell Show. Set the record straight. Conversations with movie stars of Hollywood's golden years. You will be amazed at what they say, secrets, and the scandals you always wanted to know about. Stay tuned, or you'll be sorry.
I'd like to present Miss Jane Russell. Hi, honey.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about you. Come on. You know how great you are. I don't have to tell you. But listen, let's cut to the chase here. Everybody knows about the Howard Hughes thing. Let's get the real truth. When you were 19 years old and you shot The Outlaw, Howard Hughes designed a special bra. It was based on the cantilever structure. Well, I think he got his blueprints mixed up because your boobs went up and his plane went down. But anyway, tell me, what was your bra size when you were 19 in 1940?
36B.
Everybody made such a big deal about your boobs. The church condemned it. Nobody could go see it. It was going to make perverts out of men. Boys were going to go blind because of what they did when they saw your film.
In The Outlaw, there was a cleavage scene.
Yeah, that much cleavage.
I was trying to pull a blanket up over Billy the Kid because he was freezing cold. And the camera happened to be right there. So the cameraman said, nope, we can't do that. And he moved back over here and took that picture. Well, Howard Hughes wanted that one, and he wouldn't.
The cleavage shot.
He wouldn't stop.
I think more so than that shot was when you were riding on the horse. We saw Jane Russell bouncing. Now, could you imagine if they used Pamela Anderson? She'd have tripped the horse with those rockets that she's sporting. What do you think?
It was the cleavage scene, period.
And that's what all of America went nuts over.
Yes.
No one had shown cleavage prior to that.
No, and today they're showing cleavage in the back.
Okay, now, if it were in 1940, the surgery that they have today to put in breast implants, and had Howard asked you, Jane, I want you to be a 48 double D, will you put in breast implants? Would
No.
You? Okay, why not?
Just leave me alone.
Let nature be what it is, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move up a little bit. We're going to go into some of your really good films. Everybody knows you most from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with Marilyn Monroe.
We're just two little girls from Little Rock. We lived on the wrong side of the tracks. But the gentlemen friends who used to call, they never did seem to mind at all.
It was fine. We got along beautifully. The press was trying to have a beef between us, but it didn't happen. Marilyn was very shy and bound and determined she was going to be good. And but she was getting late coming out on the set, and her makeup man told my makeup man. So I said, oh, well, I'll go by and get her. So I did, and I'd go by and say, come on, baby, we got about 5-10 minutes to get over there. And she'd go, oh, all right. And she'd get up and we'd trot on together.
Jane, tell me about the famous kiss, that story when the guy kissed the lead in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Yeah. Well, Marilyn had a very tough time when she was a kid. She was a foster child. She didn't know who her father was. So she was shy and sensitive. And after Daddy and she had their kissing scene.
Daddy being the lead.
Yeah. The guy playing what she could.
Her boyfriend in the film.
I'm trying to remember his name anyway. a friend of his came up and said, "Well, you have now kissed Marilyn Monroe. What was it like?" And he went, it was like being swallowed alive.
Oh, God. Did you believe that?
And the poor girl, she just burst into tears and went running to her dressing room.
But how else could you describe a kiss from those juicy big lips as being swallowed alive? I mean,
I would have said to him, "Honey, you'd be so lucky."
Well, that's because you're a tough broad. But Marilyn Monroe was a weak pigeon, a little baby bird. Now, the opening number, "I'm Just a Little Girl from Little Rock." How many weeks rehearsal, and had you guys ever danced before?
No, we had never danced before, neither one of us. And Marilyn hadn't sung. I'd done a lot of pictures in those days, and I had sung, but she hadn't. And so a great buddy of mine that was playing piano for Jack Cole, and Jack was trying to teach both of us to dance. And his the guys that he was teaching to dance and do all the things that they did in those pictures, he was beating the guys, but he had the patience of Job with the two of us. And he would then turn us over to Gwen Verdon, who was his assistant. And this was before Gwen had her own, you know.
Now, when you were doing "I Like Big Muscles and Red Corpuscles," and you were knocked into the pool by one of the dancers.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I like big muscles and red corpuscles. I like a beautiful hunk of man. Ain't there anyone? Ain't there anyone? 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 For love.
Well, it was an accident, and it was supposed to be like the last day of the picture, but we had to come back on Monday and reshoot that scene because they thought it was an accident, and it was, but I knew they were going to use that. It'd be too good a shot.
And your vanity didn't say, "I'm not coming out of the water with my hair wet and my makeup off." Well, you know, Betty Davis
It was
didn't
funny.
believe in that. Betty shot anything. Betty was an actress. So you were, in a sense, an actress before your time, because a glamour girl like you would Rita Hayworth would never have been shot that way, or any of the other great stars.
Well,
Lana
you're not
Turner,
sure
forget it.
because you can't ask them now.
No, but I know enough about Lana Turner where if it wasn't perfect, she didn't do it. And that was not perfect, but
I
she did
thought
it.
it was wonderful.
I thought it was, and everybody that saw the film thinks it is also.
Yeah. I think people today are a little weird. Like the one time I saw you with your hair all standing up.
Well, I'm not nuts about your gray hair. My hair was spiked, and it really looked good. Jane drives me crazy. She was staying at my house for like 4 days, and I had to hear 4 days worth of, "I hate your hair. What do you think? You're 19, look like a man." So I combed my hair for Jane today. And Jane promised me that later on in the show, she's going to wear a brown wig. So we'll be able to see what Jane Russell looks like with dark hair. Because I don't like her gray hair, and I nag her all the time. She's beautiful, she's young, she looks about 65. Why have gray hair?
I'm very lazy.
Rumor has it that Howard Hughes found you and kept you, and that you were his lover.
Ah,
What is the truth to that, Jane?
no way.
Did you ever sleep with Howard Hughes?
No.
Did he really keep you?
No.
Were you married?
No, I wasn't married yet.
Okay. Now, when Howard came on to you, how did he approach you, and how did he find you, and where did he find you?
Listen, all this, when I think back, everything that happened to me was one of the Lord's accidents. I hadn't even met Howard Hughes when I started doing The Outlaw. I'm sure he saw the pictures and all that, but I had never met him. And Howard Hawks was the director, and he's the one that signed us.
What was his fascination with the bust and the brassiere? that he designed for you this incredible brassiere that was supposed to give you a
No,
natural
stop
look.
it. They in those days they had big seams in them, and he didn't like that. I had a thin, silky jersey top on, and you could see the seams.
So he wanted you to look braless.
He wanted a smooth bra.
Braless.
He was way ahead of his time. They've got smooth bras now all over the place. But in those days, he had somebody design it, and then he sent it in, and the wardrobe girl and I are in there, and I tried it on, and it wasn't comfortable. So I knew what he was trying to do. And I put my old bra on, and I covered it with Kleenex, not tissue. Kleenex that's smooth and soft. And then I went out, and they looked and looked and looked, and, well, I think it's going to work, you know. I had thrown his bra underneath the cot in my room. And the poor wardrobe girl, she was scared to death. I'm going to get fired. And I said, nobody will ever know the difference.
I want to make a very specific point for our television viewers. The movie Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is starring Jane Russell, co-starring Marilyn Monroe. It saddens me today that everybody refers to it as Marilyn's movie.
She was the blonde. Gentlemen prefer blondes.
Well, she was the gal everybody wanted to take to a motel. But you were the gal everybody wanted to come home to in an apron and high heels and nothing else. Because you were the marrying kind. You were everybody's sweetheart. I remember, I'm a couple of weeks younger than you are. Well, you know, I remember when I was a kid, the conversations in my family. And my family all loved you. Okay, so what else could we talk about that everybody wants to hear? Any secrets of yours that you want to share with me? Wants, desires, regrets, feelings of it could have been, it should have been, why didn't it happen? Or why did it happen? Secret stuff. In the throes of love in the back seat of a 57 Chevy, or in your case a 40, whatever. We've all been there, every one of us. But you became pregnant. And how did you handle that with your mom and your family and your brothers and Bob?
That was, Mother used to say, the Lord has a path he wants you to go on. Mm-hmm. But if you fall off the path, he will rub your nose in it. Mm-hmm. And she said many times when that happens, people know what's wrong with that situation, and they try to do something about it. And so what had happened to me was I got off the path and my nose rubbed in it.
Right.
And I damn near died with
from
that.
the abortion.
Yeah. And
did that in any way hurt you from having children? Because I know you've adopted your children.
Yes, it definitely did.
So
I was in a hospital for quite a while.
Those backroom abortions didn't work back then.
Just terrible. We got waif going.
That Bob Waterfield was cheating on you a lot, and you found out that he was cheating, and then you began cheating, sort of to get even.
I even broke up with him, and I started dating John Payne.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. John Payne is a favorite actor of mine.
He was a very neat guy.
And you all know him from Miracle on 34th Street with Maureen O'Hara and Natalie Wood. John Payne played the romantic lead. Very handsome, very charming, very soft-spoken. Probably one of Hollywood's least celebrated stars and a damn good actor.
Yep.
Tell me about the romance. That had to be incredible. I mean, John Payne, wow. And Jane Russell, that had to be a bonfire.
Well, it could have been Jane Payne, you know.
Oh,
so
what a Payne. Jane Payne. Oh, Ernestine Geraldine Jane Payne. What a hanger that would be.
Listen, all those names, when
Payne,
I finally got my birth certificate said Baby Russell.
Right, because they didn't know what the hell to name
on it at all.
Right, right. But that's funny. You would have been Jane Payne.
Yeah.
I love that. We could have added on to that, but we won't.
Yeah.
Jane Payne, Anyway, okay. Now we're going to go to French Line. I read many, many years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, that Marilyn Monroe walked away with Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and Howard Hughes is really upset about this. So Howard Hughes is going to outdo Gentlemen Prefer Blondes by doing French Line. French Line is a movie that I would suggest you all rent and see. It's probably one of Jane's lesser films story-wise, but absolutely, if you're a Jane Russell fan, you've got to see it.
I'm looking for trouble. I'm gonna throw the book away. Be unpredictable from day to day in every way I can.
It's absolutely one of Jane's best works. But Howard Hughes designed a bikini. Now you tell us about that, Miss Russell.
Well, only the bad, naughty girls in France were wearing bikinis. Nobody here had, and I wasn't even about to. So I said either I get a regular, full, like a bathing suit, like a bathing suit. I'm not going to. So I went down to Santa Monica and stayed there until they told me, yes, they had the right bathing suit.
But you got to see the film because Jane Russell's in a bathtub with soap suds and she's floating. And boys, you know what's floating. So it's worth seeing the movie just to watch Jane Russell float. I read also that during the Second World War, sailors painted on 2 torpedoes Janes and shot it at a Japanese aircraft carrier and sank it. Also, somewhere in the United States, there are 2 mountains they named Jane Peaks, or Russell Peaks. They named it Russell Peaks. So the legend keeps going on about your 36 Bs. I mean, boy, I can't get over that. Do you think Howard Hughes was going to exploit you for the rest of your career?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you divorced Bob Waterfield, and you meet Roger. Tell us all about Roger and the tragedy of your marriage with Roger.
He was a beautiful, beautiful man with the most gorgeous speaking voice you've ever heard. He was an actor.
His name was?
That I had done a play with.
And his name, his full name?
Roger Barrett.
Roger Barrett.
And we ended up marrying with a big wedding, and we went to Europe, and 3 months later he died of a massive coronary, and I went into depression for about 5 years.
Is it true he was sitting on the edge of the bed tying his shoe and he keeled over on the floor dead? That's what I had read.
Well, I don't know whether he was... I had gone to the phone because he was complaining about how hurting his back or something. And I was calling the doctor, and I heard this terrible roar, and I looked back, and he had died right on the bed.
Now, did you start drinking at that point?
Yeah.
To get rid of the pain?
Yeah.
And then drinking became a great problem?
I didn't... Well...
you battled alcoholism.
I should never have been drinking, but I didn't know that.
Right. Because I understand later years, which is not only but 6 or 7 years ago, that your son found you lying on the bathroom floor. You had been there for 3 days. They took you to...
3 days?
Well, that's what the story goes. Now, listen, I'm reading these magazines, the yellow crap of today, you know.
Crazy things.
Press is never really correct all the time. Anyway, your son moved you immediately to Santa Maria. And when you came to, months later, your church group was around you praying for you.
It was my own family, not a church group. It was my own family.
They have to make the church group read better. Family was boring, church group is better.
So that's the first time I found out that I am alcoholic.
But toxic also. If you have another drink, you'll die.
Well, people that are not alcoholic are not allergic to booze.
Right.
They can get up and leave their half a glass of whatever, and but an alcoholic is going to see that every single bit of it is gone.
So you're on the wagon how many years now? You haven't had a drop?
Yeah, since 2000.
So good for you, Jane.
But I don't know how many people were only 79 when they got off of booze.
Well, not too many. Usually you go on booze at 79 because what's ahead after 79 just ain't no picnic.
When I stopped making pictures was when the studios were changing totally. There were many people that stopped.
The contract
because the agents were running the whole thing. You didn't have that father figure at the studio, and that was your home away from home and everything. It was all gone.
When your friend Robert Mitchum was busted for smoking pot, and he made the cover of that, and they exposed that Robert Mitchum smoked marijuana, it was a terrible thing. He went to jail for that, by the way. Which today, I mean, they walk in the street on Hollywood Boulevard lighting up joints and smoking from pipes. So I don't know what the big deal was back then. But you couldn't get away with too much back then. You had to be very careful where you went, what you did. Let's talk a little bit about fashion. What do you think of styles today, what our stars look like today? Nah, I'm sorry I asked you.
Anybody that's going to wear blue jeans with streaks and scarred, dirty, they look like they've been thrown in the trash, and they're the most expensive ones.
But you do look like you used to. You do. Your face hasn't changed at all.
I'm not a brunette anymore, honey.
But I think if you had brown hair, you would look younger than the gray
Okay, we'll
hair.
Try.
Okay, good. It's a deal. And I'll comb my hair off my face.
They'll all
Yeah,
have
see?
to phone and let you know.
Yes, please. If you're watching this show, contact your network and say, we like Jane Grey or we like Jane Brown. And this way, maybe we can launch Jane back. It's not like she doesn't work. She does a nightclub show. She's been on TV. She travels all over the country working. And people say, where's Jane Russell? Oh, that's Jane Russell? They don't want you with gray hair. They want to see Jane Russell. And maybe a little French push-up bra wouldn't hurt either. Right? We could do like the old days. Anyway, back to the old days. Tell me about fashion. What was so special about fashion in 1940? Why did everybody look so perfect?
Well, because everybody wanted to look as good as they possibly can.
But relaxed
instead
didn't
of
count?
today.
Didn't you ever
Everybody
want to be
had their own hairdo, and there weren't two of them alike. And the clothes were all beautifully designed.
Well, you designed a lot of your clothes.
The 40s were really the best generation.
For design.
People, well, for anything, for music. For singers, for the big bands.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But
you designed a lot of your own clothes.
Yeah.
Lots of you. And Mr. Blackwell designed most of your beautiful gowns. And I've seen photos of some of Mr. Blackwell's gowns, and they're really, really smashingly beautiful.
Well,
what did you think of the film The Aviator? And I understand that Leonardo DiCaprio came here to this house.
He sure did.
And you sat down and gave him ideas or suggestions?
Well, he wanted to know what Howard Hughes was like, because the whole idea of Howard Hughes was his idea. And he had gotten the script done before he ever took it to the director. And he wanted to play Howard Hughes. So I told him what I knew about Howard.
Which was?
That he was polite and that he was, quiet and
but was he eccentric
determined?
At that point? Was he eccentric then?
Determined. And that I had never seen any of the nonsense that they were writing in books about him, ever.
Like the urinating with 20 milk bottles and the fingernails down to here and the toenails?
Oh.
You knew nothing about that?
No, but I did know, and we used to call them the Mormon Mafia, who had taken him out of the country and were keeping him on dope and stuff. And nobody that he knew well ever got to see him.
Right.
Nobody. And it was
What did
very
you think
sad.
they did with that film? Did you think they did a good job with that film?
Yes, I think what... why can't I remember his name?
Leonardo.
What Leo had put into the picture was very good.
Close to the truth.
Yes, and I told him that the angriest I ever saw Howard was when he was on TV in Washington, D.C., and having the argument with the senator.
Mm-hmm.
And the senator said, would you do so-and-so and so-and-so? And Howard said, no, I don't think I will.
That was
And
strong
that
for
was
Howard.
as mad as I ever
That
saw
was
him.
strong for Howard. Rumors have it that Howard was